One of the questions I get a lot is, what is the first mod that you would do to a pickup truck? Or, what are your must-have mods for your truck? Or, hey, I just got a truck, what do you recommend I hit first or I do first? So that's exactly what we're gonna talk about today. My name's Dustin, AKA Dusty_LBZ on the socials. And today we're talking about my top 5 must-have mods for every diesel pickup truck. I feel like I can talk a little bit confidently on this one because I've had the Duramax for a couple years now. We've done some things I liked, done some things I didn't like. So like I said, my list of top 5 things that I think every diesel truck owner has to have in their life when it comes to truck mods. Before we get into that though, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And of course, if you're interested in supporting the channel, head on over to the website. You can pick up some gear like this coffee hoodie right here. We've got this in a hoodie, a t-shirt. It's also in a patch if you just want to like iron on a patch. So we've got that plus a ton more. You guys can check it all out, dustylbz.com, or click the link down in the description. It'll take you right there. With that, let's dive right into the list. So number 1 on our list is going to be window tint. When I buy a vehicle, the very first thing I do is window tint. The guys in the back are actually, raising the roof because window tint, chef's kiss. It's just so good. It's one of those mods that really doesn't cost a lot. It really won't drastically change the exterior look of your vehicle, but if you don't have it, you're definitely gonna notice that it's not there. It was one of the first things I did to the Duramax. I tinted the sides and the windshield, of course, which, caveat here, may not always be legal in your state, so make sure you check out the legal limits of your state because I am required by the FCCA or whatever the hell, the acronym Bureau of something or another, I think it's DOT actually, but regardless, make sure you check out your local laws so that way you're not in violation of any of those codes or hey, that risk is on you. It was the first thing I did to the Duramax. It was the first thing I did to the X5 when I bought it. I literally bought my Jeep Cherokee, my daily, and then a day later had it in the shop getting window tint done. So for me, I always do 35 on the sides and I do 50 on the windshield. I really like the tinted windshield. Helps kind of keep the glare down. Works as like a pair of sunglasses in the sunlight, but it also doesn't super negatively impact my my driving experience at night. So tinted windshield is something that I really recommend. Again, not legal in every state. Make sure you check out your state laws. But yeah, number 1 on the list of mods that I think every diesel truck needs is window tint. Coming in the number 2 spot here, of course, is going to be functional lighting. And I know that probably seems a little bit counterintuitive being back to back with window tint because window tint's gonna cut down some of the light that comes into your cab, but let me explain here. Functional lighting just makes sense. There's nothing worse than driving an old pickup truck, especially if it is a little bit older. My Duramax is now 16 years old, I believe. So driving something a little bit older and having those foggy, gross, nasty, yellowed, halogen, clear housing, just gross headlights. That and the fact that, the fog lights from 2006 were pretty gross and they didn't really do anything either, really makes this an easy win for me. Functional lighting is gonna be one of those things that's always gonna pay dividends for you when it comes to functionality and also form, right? A set of like Morimoto's, for example, or if you have a Cat Eye Silverado like I do, the new Alpha Rex headlights just look so damn good, and they're gonna put out a ton more light than your factory bulbs do. They're not gonna throw light around like an HID in a factory housing, and you're not gonna blind everyone coming at you. And then of course, couple that with like the fog lights, which are absolutely incredible, right? Get yourself some Morimoto 4-bangers there and really just light the road up, handle it, be able to see everything at night. Absolutely awesome. Definitely recommend. And that's gonna be number 2 on our top 5 list of must-have mods for your diesel pickup. Coming in at number 3, smack dab in the middle of our list, is going to be none other than a lift pump. Now, this one is a little bit spicy, and I found that out when I posted a reel on this the other day, and the comment section got a little heated in terms of both what brand to go with or if you need one at all. Now, the premise of a lift pump is really gonna be twofold, right? Number 1, a lift pump is gonna act as a secondary filter. A lift pump is generally speaking gonna get you down to that 2 to 3 microns filtration, which is pretty small, right? It's gonna help take care of any of the dust and dirt and debris that your diesel fuel may have picked up in the tanks or along the way from the refinery to your tank, because there's a lot of opportunities for contaminants to get in there. Also a good opportunity to get water in there, and as you guys may or may not know, water in a diesel fuel engine is actually pretty bad. It can do some pretty terrible things. So that's number 1, good filtration, good water separation, gets all the air out of the fuel, right? So that way you take it a little bit easier on your injectors. And number 2 is it's actually gonna assist your factory injection pump. In my Duramax, for example, I don't have a lift pump from the factory, so my injection pump way up at the engine is responsible for not only pushing fuel into the injectors, but also pulling it through all of the lines all the way back to the fuel tank, which can be a lot of work on those injection pumps, especially as they start to age, right? My truck's got 270,000 miles on it now. That injection pump has seen some. So that lift pump is gonna essentially pull that fuel up out of the tank and push it up to the injection pump, give it a nice clean supply of unaerated, ready-to-go diesel fuel right to the injection pump, which then can pressurize it, throw it into the injectors, and throw it into the cylinders. So number 3, injection pump. I recommend a fast lift pump, although I know some guys that run AirDog, and AirDog seems to do a pretty good job as well. I've had really good luck with fast. I know the guys that fast really well. So that's my recommendation, but either way, get a lift pump for your truck. You're gonna want it, you're gonna need it. It's gonna make your life a lot easier. Fuel filter changes are way easier. Just do it. That's number 3. Number 4 on our list is going to be an intake. Now, intakes again are one of those where you really get what you pay for. You gotta kind of pay attention to what you're buying and what you're not buying. Not all intakes are created equally, right? There are some that are just tubes and filters, and then they're not really intaking any additional cooler air. Sure, they may flow more air, but if they're not intaking colder air, they're really not helping you that much. The premise behind a cold air intake is that you're getting cooler, denser air, so that way you can push more air into the engine, and more air and more fuel equals more power. It's just that simple. So warm air intakes aren't gonna do what you want them to do. A couple of brands I recommend here. I've had really good luck with Banks Power. Their stuff fits really, really well. It's actually what I'm running on the Duramax right now. I love that intake. It's absolutely incredible. The filter actually mounts inversely, which is nice because what that means is any contaminants you suck to the filter while the truck is running, when you shut it off, they're actually gonna fall to the bottom of intake housing there by the filter, and they're gonna sit on the bottom versus plugging that filter up. It's kind of a neat little piece of information, a little tidbit, if you would. And it fits a lot better than some of the other intakes on the market. I had another brand, I'm not gonna mention it because I don't wanna be that guy, but it definitely didn't fit well. It was hard to get to the oil dipstick due to the routing of the tube and stuff, and that Banks intake is just gonna fit so damn well. So number 4 on the list, cold air intake or an air intake of some sort. Of course, like I said, I recommend Banks, but there's a ton of other brands out there. Either way, gonna help you pick up a couple extra HPs, keep your engine a little bit cooler with a little less restriction in the intake, and overall, just a good buy for the money. Now, before we get into number 5, what do you guys think it is? Drop a comment down below with a timestamp so I know that you're not lying. Oh, wait. All right, there it is. So number 5 on the list is going to be an exhaust. Now, every kid that buys a diesel truck, and I say kid, but I was 27 when I bought my diesel truck, every kid that buys a diesel truck wants an exhaust. It was one of the first things I had to have on my Duramax. And my truck had come with a kind of aftermarket off-road kit, but it's kind of cobbled together, and I really just didn't like it. One of the first things I did after window tint was a 4-inch downpipe back exhaust. Not only is that gonna help keep your EGTs cooler, right? Because less obstruction, more exhaust gases flowing out of the truck, but it's also just gonna sound good. There's something about a straight pipe diesel that just gets a guy going. And so for that reason alone, I think it's worth it. But again, there's some horsepower gains that come with that. There's some lower EGTs that come with that. And for the few $100, it's just a good buy. So again, I would recommend an exhaust of some type on regardless of what vehicle you're doing, mostly because it just sounds pretty cool, but also because it's gonna help with some performance stuff as well. So there you guys have it. There's my top 5 list of must-do mods on a diesel pickup truck. What do you guys think? Did I nail it? Did I miss something? Drop a comment down below. And of course, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you can keep up with all the awesome content that we got coming for you guys. With that, I'm Dustin. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.